Oh, hello, sunshine.
Sit tight. I was about to go for a stroll, but maybe I'll stick around, you fucking idiot.
And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, combatants. Here we are. Not only is this third generation wrestling, this is the Countdown Podcast 2020, our first joint venture in the new millennia. I am your host. I'm DaReal Big E, featuring MJ Book and Ambassador Rob. How y'all doing?
It's going good, man. It's great to be on Third Generation Wrestling, and of course, welcome to the Countdown.
Yeah, going good for me too. I finally got a new vehicle this week, so I'm happy about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you.
What'd you get?
I got a 2019 Chevy Equinox.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
They riding in style over there. And
That's oh yeah, a Ferrari in every driveway.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, we are doing this joint venture in the interest of something that kind of brings us all together. We're not talking wrestling. We're not talking. Well, we are talking the movie, but we're not doing a countdown. We are all here to discuss Mortal Kombat 2021 movie review, totally off base of what we normally do on either show. So that's why we're here doing it all together. And me personally, I've been waiting on this movie since 1997 after the debacle that was Annihilation. And yeah, so I've been waiting on this since then. That's like 22 years since the last movie. I mean, I guess you could count Scorpion's Revenge, which was a cartoon though, but I did watch that. I enjoyed that. But yeah, I played every single game from the Sega to the PS5. So that's kind of my history with Mortal Kombat. Rob, I know you're kind of a casual fan. You know what it is. You kind of know some of the lore and just have general knowledge of it. So where was your hype or non-hype for this movie?
Well, everyone who listens to the podcast knows that I am not a gamer. I've never played Mortal Kombat. I've never seen any of the earlier movies, although I am familiar with the franchise. I can't name all of the characters, but Mortal Kombat is a phenomenon. So, it really transcended just video games. So yeah, I'm familiar with the franchise, but what drew me into this particular movie that we're about to talk about was the trailer. One thing I do know about the game Mortal Kombat is how violent it is.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints I always heard about the original films is that they weren't really true to the video game. So after watching this trailer, and it was a restricted trailer, so I knew that this one was going to be truer to the game. It got me excited just because even though I'm not a fan of the game, I'm a fan of action movies and martial arts. So I was all in once I saw the trailer.
Well, I am a gamer, and this is one of those video games that's an important part of my gaming life. This was the first game that I had to have my mom with me to go and buy it because they instituted the rating systems and everything. This was the first game. This was the game that made me quit Nintendo and jump to Genesis because Nintendo edited out the blood, made it saliva. Genesis had the blood. So I went to Genesis. And of course, the first movie to me is the greatest video game movie ever made. So this is a huge franchise to me. And I was very interested to see how this movie was going to go. Where was it going to stack? Is it going to be on par or better with the original? Is it going to be worse or on par with Annihilation?
Oh God.
I mean, because Annihilation is a true turd. There's
Yeah.
no way to describe it.
Wait,
It is a turd.
it's so bad though that it's almost entertaining. It's so bad.
It is really, really bad. I watched both Mortal Kombat original movies before watching the new one, and I rewatched them both again just yesterday. So, Annihilation, God, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's bad. It is bad, but that was kind of my original expectation of it. Like, as long as it's better than Annihilation, we're good. And that's a low bar, but
It's an extremely low bar.
it just can't be worse than that. That's you would have to try to make it worse.
So, did you both enjoy the first one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the first one to me is a classic, and like Book said, but before we can get into this movie, up until now, it was the best, and it's regarded as the best video game movie adaptation as far as sticking true to the story. Now, what that first one is missing is the violence. There are fight scenes, but there's no blood. So it was made for the family. It was PG-13, so the families could go. Yeah, they kind of threw all that out the window this time around, as we have Mortal Kombat 2021, directed by Simon McCoy. And Simon McCoy is a new name. You probably never heard of him before because he's never directed a movie, which gave me cause for pause. Like, huh. All right.
His name is not the name that was a part of this movie that should have given you pause. Dave Callahan.
Oh, well.
He's a screenwriter. You know what else he did a screenplay for? Wonder Woman 84.
Ugh.
Doom. He did Doom.
The first one?
So the one with The Rock. So that's what gave me pause, was the fact that he was in this. I was like, oh God.
Well, I had cause because it was a brand new director. He's done music videos and commercials, but then James Wan's name was on there, so I was like, okay, well, if he's overseeing it, then at least he can ring in and make some good suggestions at least. And it is Warner Brothers, so I had some hesitation at some points, but I think I was just looking at too much stuff and reading too much behind the scenes on it. But it's been so long. That's what happens when you have 22 years in between a movie. So the movie stars Louis Tan, Joe Taslim, Hiroyuki Sanada, Josh Lawson, Mehcad Brooks, and Jessica McNamee. Now, when you read off that cast, a lot of people may not know those faces. But if you look up like Joe Taslim, I think everybody knows Hiroyuki Sanada's face. They just don't know his name. But everybody else is kind of from TV or from foreign films, especially Joe Taslim, who plays Sub-Zero.
Chin Han, too, who played Shang Tsung. People would know him, too.
Oh, yeah, from Dark Knight. This movie was filmed in 2019, so that means pre-COVID. So they wrapped it up before COVID, and I guess they had another year to edit. Which some things I'll get into it when I get there, but some things with this movie. So before we get to the breakdown, I just want to say overall thoughts. I enjoyed the movie. I'm not gonna give my grade right now, but I did enjoy this movie. No movie is perfect. There are decisions that were made that I didn't care for, but there's one glaring problem that I'm gonna get to, and y'all probably pick up on it as we go through the movie. So I don't know if anybody else wants to give their overall opinions before we get to it, but we're just gonna run through it really quick. I kind of broke down my notes by fights, so we're just gonna jump to the fights and everything in between.
I'll give my overall impressions after we finish.
Okay.
I won't say too much, but for me, just like I kind of already hinted to it, all I was comparing was the two previous Mortal Kombats. Is it going to be equal to one of those? Better, worse? middle. Where was this movie going to lie? The only thing that I did not want is, just like Eric said, is please don't be worse than Annihilation. That's all.
Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, well, movie opens up real hot and fast. They released the first 7 minutes online, which I don't know if that was a good idea, but it is what it is. And we get the backstory of Hanzo Ashashi, aka Scorpion, and Bihan, aka Sub-Zero. This fight, this opening scene with, Bihan speaking Japanese and Chinese and attacking Hanzo's family, and Hanzo just going off, cutting people up left and right, and then their one-on-one fight. I was like, wow, they really went all in on this movie. I'm all this doesn't even look like an American-made film right now. This looks amazing. And I appreciate them speaking their native tongues, or not just being of Asian descent speaking English. They do that a lot in American movies. So I appreciate this early fight. We get a lot of check boxes where the Scorpion get the spear. We got that. I liked the way he was using it. We got the blood and the gore and the guts. Yeah, the fight ends with Bihan getting the upper hand on Scorpion, but Scorpion does say, "Remember my face." I gotta ask you, Rob, what you thought of the beginning, because I know you know Joe Taslim from The Raid. So what do you think of the opening scene?
Well, like you, I thought it looked really professional, the way they were going back and forth with the languages. Like you said, this beginning made me think, wow, okay, they were really serious about this. They're trying to make a great film. And that opening sequence really drew me in. As I said, I'm coming into this looking through a different lens than you both. I hadn't seen any of these movies. I'm familiar with the franchise, but not with all the individual characters. So I'm just looking at it just as a movie. And does the movie entertain me? And this opening sequence really, really drew me in and got me excited for the rest of the movie.
This was definitely a very good way to start out the movie. And I'm probably going to butcher. I am terrible with names. I always say this.
You can call him Henry. He goes by Henry too.
Well, Henry? Okay.
Henry Sonata.
Henry Sonata. Okay, perfect. Henry Sonata, of course, playing. Scorpion is my favorite character. He's always been my favorite character. So that was going to be one of the main characters I was going to be looking at. How are you going to be playing this? You better do this right, because he got screwed up previously. So please do this right. And at this point, I had no complaints. Awesome fight scene. Great way to start out the movie. One of the best movie starts I've ever seen. It's one of the best.
Yeah, I really liked how, we got to see how he threw the spear into the tree, behind ducks, but then he pulls it back and he gets the scar on his face. He's like, bitch. He's ready to fight now. Yeah, really gruesome fight. It felt personal. You just could tell. No qualms there.
There is one problem I do have, though.
Okay.
In the beginning, when they start talking about their clans for when they say for this clan, the
Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Well,
that was a problem I had. It's like, okay.
If you're casual, you won't know.
If that's the problem.
Right.
A lot of people who are watching this are probably going to be casual, and they're not going to get that. I had to think about it, and then I remembered, okay, now I remember what that means. But a casual who I've talked to a few, they were like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I agree. Now, since we're talking about casual versus, real fans of the games, the next scene is with a character that has never been in a Mortal Kombat game ever. But the studio felt the need to insert him because of the casual audience, because they didn't feel like the casual audience will be able to keep up with the story. So we get Cole Young, this chump change MMA fighter that actually, I have a problem with this scene, how it's shot. It looks cool. The fight, I mean, as far as the how the scene looks, how it's set, it looks cool. But how does Cole go from literally whooping this guy's ass. I mean, he's beating the shit out of this dude. All of a sudden, he's getting tapped out. And I said, see, that it just didn't feel earned, I guess. I don't know. But I get why he had to lose because they're trying to set up an arc. So that's loss number 1 for keeping count of Mr. Cole here. That's his first loss. We also get introduced to Jax in this scene. And then, yeah. So, Book, what did you think of Cole versus this random MMA fighter?
Well, the way they shot the whole thing, they revealed something right off the bat in the locker room. The poster right to the left that said there was a movie poster. You know what I'm talking about? It was right there in the opening scene. So I'm like, okay, that's either an Easter egg or you're going to show this later. And of course, we all know what happened there. As far as the fight, I didn't get why he was being such a bitch. It's like, dude, I'm supposed to believe you're going to be a mortal. You're in this tournament and you're losing to this dude. I already don't believe in you. So they screwed the pooch right off the bat with Cole. I had a problem with him from the beginning. Oh God, the uppercut. Yeah. I already had a problem with him right from the beginning. It's like, okay, this is our connection to the movie. He's the vehicle for us to get into the movie. And I'm already having problems with him. So.
Okay. So I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Cole Young, this character was not part of the franchise in the game at all?
No.
Nope. Brand new character.
This is a brand new character for this movie that they decided to interject because they were afraid the casual audience wouldn't get it. So if we were to follow Kano or Jax or Sonya, they felt like that wouldn't have worked.
Well, you know what? I guess I'm surprised because I just assumed they made this guy the central character in the movie. So I obviously assumed he was part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you would.
Yeah. Now, as far as the fight scene, though, I guess for me, I didn't really have a problem with the guy losing. I kind of got the impression, look, he's not fighting in UFC. He's fighting in some underground fight organization with this, to me, who seems like kind of a janky or sleazy promoter. And so he lost. Okay, I didn't consider it a big deal because I figured they're trying to build him up to be this underdog. And as the movie goes on, obviously, he's trying to find his we'll get, I don't want to say too much because I'm sure we're going to get there, but I guess for me it didn't bother me too much. I was surprised when he lost, but at the same time I'm thinking, okay, obviously this guy needs to find something in himself to become what he needs to be by the end of the movie. So I just left it there and just continued to watch.
Okay. From there, we meet Shang Tsung and Melina. Now, I don't know about y'all, but Melina was thicker than a Snicker. Yeah, I know in the games, I don't know what race she is, but she ain't black. She's played by a sister in this movie.
She's something in the games.
She's something in this movie.
Something in the movie too.
They tried to ugly her up as best they could, and I was still like, man, I give it to Melina. So we meet them, kind of a throwaway scene, and then we get, to me, one of the coolest scenes in the movie when Shang Tsung sends Sub-Zero to attack Cole, and it starts snowing in July. And then all of a sudden, you just see Sub-Zero show up in the shadows. This is like a horror movie almost, because they're not showing they're just showing his silhouette. And he raises those arms, and he makes it hail, and he's just throwing ice everywhere. And of course, Jax pulls up, saves Cole and his family. He tells them to go off, meet Sonya Blade, and we'll go from there. Jax, you just saw this man throwing ice from his hands, okay? All you guys are shotgun, bro. Okay. But hey, you've been on 6 tours apparently, so that's all you need.
Oh God, I hated when he said that. I hated it when he said that. I'm like, so what? Sub-Zero's like hundreds of years old.
But I will say, I enjoyed this fight scene, even though I knew how it was going to end because of the trailer. I thought it definitely was one of the longer fights for sure. It showed off Sub-Zero's abilities. I like how the detail they paid attention to. Like every time he touched Jax, he was freezing part of him. I thought that was good attention to detail, like how Sub-Zero was breathing. And man, when he froze those arms and ripped them off, if that's not enough, pushes this man off and his face right into the rebar. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, oh, he dead. Forget your arms. But yeah, the funniest part though, I like how when they show his face when his arms are getting frozen, he's looking at his arms. He's like, man, he looks like, man, I just left the gym. Don't take my arms. But I enjoyed this fight. I really did, even though my man lost. So
when Jax showed up, that was a character. As a kid, I never liked Jax. I just didn't. And in Annihilation, he was one of the worst characters in that movie because he just couldn't fight. I was like, why are you in this? How are you a champion? You cannot fight. So I was like, I hope they do Jax a little bit better in this. He wasn't a whole lot better, but at least I was able to believe in him a bit more in this movie than they did in Annihilation. So with Jax, they improved him, which that doesn't take much, but at least they made him somebody that I could believe in a little bit. Sub-Zero, they found the right actor. They played him good. The fight scene was amazing, even though I despise Sub-Zero just because I'm a Scorpion guy, so of course I'm going to hate him. But this was a great fight. One of the longer fights, possibly next to the way the movie started, quite possibly the second best fight in the whole damn movie. So this was a very good. The movie was getting good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the fight scene as well. And the actor playing Jax, Mishad Brooks, he's the only, outside of Joe Taslim, for me, he was the only familiar face in this movie. I had seen him he was in a couple of seasons of True Blood, and he was in Supergirl, like the first couple of seasons of that. Remember that show from a couple of years ago? Not very good. He played Jimmy Olsen in that one. So I was familiar with him, but the dude had really gotten.
Oh God, that was him.
Yeah. He's about 30 or 40 pounds bigger now, all muscular. So yeah, I was really impressed by that. I was impressed by this fight scene, and seeing the brother lose both of his arms, like, wow, damn, kind of rough. But once again, this was a scene that kept me interested, kept me wanting to see what would happen next.
I'm stunned. I did not put together those pieces. I did not realize that was.
Oh yeah, that's Jimmy Olsen. Brooks. Yeah, he was in that. He was in Desperate Housewives. Even he was in Tyler Perry's movie. That came on Netflix last year. He's been in a bunch of stuff. People just don't know his name.
I just didn't recognize him because, like Rob said, he's like 30, 40 pounds bigger. And
he said he put on 40 pounds for the role.
It's muscle, so I just plain didn't recognize him.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw the interviews with him. He said he got the role and he just ran to the gym because he knew he had to get bigger.
Yeah, he needed to get a little bigger.
So it worked.
After that, we get to meet my favorite character in the entire movie.
I know where you're going.
So Cole goes and finds Sonya at just like a trailer park, I guess. I don't know, in Gary, Indiana. Look, if you're gonna shoot a movie, why in the hell would you shoot it? I mean, this movie was shot in Australia. Why would you set it in Gary, Indiana, of all places? So he finds Sonya Blade. They get to talking. She shows him all her clippings and covered all the walls and explains Mortal Kombat. And then we get to meet the show stealer, the man that made this movie, Kano, played by Josh Lawson. Look, Kano knew exactly the type of movie he was in, and he played it up, and it was hilarious. He was the shining star of this movie. Oh my! I could have had more of him. I couldn't get enough. I was like, "Where's Kano? Give me some more Kano."
Kano definitely stole it. He completely stole the movie, and that was completely unexpected. Because
Yeah, I mean,
if you're a video game guy, you're already a little taken for granted. Like, wait. I'm supposed to now cheer for Kano?
right.
No. There's no way I can cheer for Kano.
You're supposed to
But
hate Kano.
yeah, I'm supposed to hate this idiot. But he was so funny.
He was
It's
so
like
damn funny.
it's like, did he have a separate writer? What was going on here? Because he had the best lines.
He's a stand-up comedian, and he's an improv comedian. So this is what he does. So that's why he knows the movie he's in. He knows. I'm not taking this shit serious like everybody else is. He has not only just jokes to hit you in the face, he has subtle jokes. So like with the tattoos, the dragon markings, Sonya tells Cole that she doesn't have one. He goes, wah, wah.
Yeah,
You have to hear it.
He steals every single scene that he's in.
Yeah.
That was totally unexpected. I don't know if the filmmakers expected that, but he totally did it. He stole it. He was more a vehicle than Cole.
Yeah. So yet again. So we get another fight scene, I guess if you want to call it that. We get Reptile showing up, and at first they can't see him. It's not a terrible fight. They end up using a flare to stab him with in order to finally see it. Kano, who was shackled, uses Reptile's blood or saliva, I don't know what it was, to break the chains, and he ends up taking the knife that Sonya stabbed it with and then ripping Reptile's heart out. And of course, we get the whole Kano wins. But before even that, that's how Kano got the scratch on his face. And, Sonya had the knife and she looked like she was aiming at Reptile, but she threw the knife right in Kano's leg.
Kano's leg.
But yeah, that's how that scene ended. Again, Cole, our vehicle, didn't do shit. Okay.
No, he was useless. He was useless. And for Rob, I don't know, since you're not into the gaming aspect, you might not know this part. When Kano rips the heart out, that's his finisher. It's a video game finisher, ripping the heart out. So when he utters that line, that's what you hear when you do that.
That's
Kano wins. So that was fan service for us, for us gamers. That's his finisher, ripping out the heart.
Okay, yeah, believe it or not, when he did the Kano wins, I actually knew that is part of the game, that whoever wins the battle, that's how they announce the winner, correct?
Right.
It's one of the ways, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that much.
Yeah. So, and then we get the whole, them trying to find out where Raiden's temple is, and pretty much Sonya offers Kano millions of dollars to take her, and he's like, "You live in this shithole. You ain't got that kind of money." And then he ends up taking the deal anyway for reasons, and spits on a garden gnome. Garden gnome comes back later, so that's why I have to mention it. So, go from there. And I don't know about y'all, but that whole scene, that was a lot. That was like 15 minutes. I'm thinking, who's checking on Jax? He just laying in the alley some damn where with no arms.
I was wondering that.
Concussed.
Who's somebody got to go back and get Jax?
Sonya is a terrible partner because he ain't checked in. She ain't going to check on him.
She hops on a plane and
he
leaves.
gets on a plane and leaves. All the while, Cole is having these flashbacks of Hanzo Hasashi, who's in another realm. Upon like second and third viewing, I could hear what Hanzo was saying. He was trying to tell Cole to resurrect him. He needed to use the tool in order to do so. That comes up. There's a reason why I'm mentioning that too for later. So we got Sonya, Kano, Cole walking through the desert. Kano doesn't know where the hell he's going, but they just so happen to run into Liu Kang, who is also just wandering the fucking desert, I guess, at the same time.
Well, he was looking for them.
Okay.
He was looking for them.
Okay. That convenience.
Very convenient.
Movies have conveniences. Let's just leave it there. Okay. So then we get to Raiden's temple, and oh my God, mysteriously, Jax is there, laying on the medical table, and Sonya all of a sudden cares about him again. I'd be like, bitch, when I wake up, we gonna have some words.
I'm gonna hit you with my stump.
And then we get like, I guess 2 temple workers come up and they've got connects and Legos that they're gonna try to attach to Jack's arms with stumps.
His little baby arms.
Yeah.
They come in man size.
Yeah, we'll get there. So pretty much this whole next 30 to 40 minutes of the movie is hit or miss. And the only person saving it is Kano. Okay. So I think it's only appropriate that I just sum up what happens, really. Okay, so we get, the fight pit with the whole point of the fight pit, as Liu Kang says, if you have the dragon marking, that means you have the ability to unleash your arcana. So they're saying all this stuff in passing, by the way. So if you're not listening or paying attention, you won't hear it. Your arcana is AKA your special powers. So that's why Liu Kang can shoot fireballs. That's why Kung Lao has a master. He's the master of his frisbee hat.
Sombrero. Kato. Kato stole this movie. It's so unbelievable how he stole it.
He was like, so I get it now. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. It could be fireballs. It could be frisbee hat. He was so good. So the whole thing was you had to fight in the fight pit in order to release your arcana, and that was they were trying to get Cole especially to get his. So Kung Lao tried to fight him, Liu tried to fight him, even Kano tried to fight this man, and he still couldn't get his damn arcana. So Reagan said, "You know what? I thought you were special.
Get your ass home.
You're the bloodline of Hanzo Hasashi, the baddest ninja of all time, and your ass can't even come up with powers. Take your ass back home. Goodbye." Of course, Kano is the first one to get his powers because Liu Kang and Kung Lao get him riled up at dinner when he wants egg roll.
Calling him a buddy and a dog.
Yeah.
That scene was hysterical.
He goes off. Okay. Let's just say he goes in and the jokes just start flying. I mean,
that sombrero up your ass and make you speak Spanish. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, poor Jax, man. They had him. I didn't know they were going to do this to the brother. They had him with these little T-Rex arms that they gave him. I mean, they look like chopsticks. The whole rest of his body is all big and muscular, and he's got these little.
Pretty much. And during that entire scene, this stuff is happening at the dinner. Cole disappeared. He's there.
He was there, but he wasn't.
But he just poof. I forgot he was at the table.
Yeah, because no presence in this movie. So Kano gets so mad that he shoots the laser eye and he gets his arcana, and then we cut to Outworld again, and we see Natara, who's the big vampire bat. We get General Reiko, played by Nathan Jones, and Cabal and Melina. Is it just me, or did Cabal sound like Bill Burr?
Yes. Cabal annoyed the hell out of me. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Like a cooler version, like the voice was still modified a little bit, but it was just a cooler version of Bill Burr the way he was talking. Guy Kano down there, real fucking asshole. He is.
He needed to shut up.
He's the reason I live in the Iron Lung. I actually like Cabal. I thought his fight scenes were good. I liked the way they used his abilities. I thought Cabal was underutilized to me, but Cabal manipulates Kano to gain access so that Sub-Zero, Melina, Reiko, and Shang Tsung can attack the Earth Realm warriors again. And then Reiko beats up Jax and Sonya. No, Sonya gets her ass whooped by Melina. And then Melina stabs Sonya with her sai, tastes the blood, and says, "Nah, you're not even a chosen one. You're not worth the kill." And here comes Kano. You're good enough for me, though. Sticks his thumb in the wound, like, and then throws her off the cliff, uses laser eye to chop the statue hand off and drop it on her. And then we get Natara versus Kung Lao. Now, this is probably some people's favorite part of the whole movie. Because he throws the hat at Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung just kind of moves out the way. And here comes Natara diving in. And he uses his arcana, jumps up, rides her like a surfboard, just a spinning hat, and splits her in half. And it's just blood squirting all over Kung Lao. It was fucking awesome.
Flawless victory.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I had no idea how it was connected to the game, but I just thought it was a brutally violent scene. And look, man, I like that kind of thing in my action films. I like bloody violence. I enjoyed that. It was kind of shocking because I'm like, wow, okay, I knew the game was violent, and I knew this movie was trying to be true to the game, but to me, that was an extra level of violence. I really wasn't expecting them to go there with that, but they did, and I didn't mind.
It was definitely the most violent fatality, for sure. Now, we have to get back to Cole. And Cole's with his family back in the real world, and they hear something out in the garage, and everybody goes to the door. I'm like, what world are we living in where everybody gets up, first of all? And here comes Goro coming out of the garage. I'm like, oh, shit. Now, I got to say, I actually enjoyed this fight. Because Cole was getting his ass whooped, and there wasn't a whole lot of quick cutting. I like the fact that there was like a solid frame of them punching and kicking, and he really gave Goro some go. Goro was, about to kill him, and I do appreciate his wife coming out there with that axe and jabbing it into Goro. Because as far as I'm concerned, if I'm getting my ass whooped and my wife is there, I don't need you screaming for me. I need you getting on this dude. Okay, need you helping. So she at least did that. So kudos to her. The only thing I didn't like was Cole's arcana. His power came from his daughter's bracelet that she made for him. And it's what? An Under Armour shirt?
Power of the wicker basket. A whisker basket just covers his body.
I'm like, okay. And then, so he literally, this is what happens. He gets his arcana, runs at Goro, and Goro punches the shit out of him.
Cole is so useless.
I'm like, dude, you are terrible. You are the worst lead ever. You can't do nothing right, and you about to lose this fight too. But then Goro starts pounding on him again. Now his shirt absorbs punishment like Black Panther. I guess it powers him up. Dad, use your uppercut. I'm pretty sure they use the same audio from the
It's the same audio. It's the same audio.
He uppercuts Goro, which all that work, and it just stuns him. It just pissed off Goro. That's all it did.
And then Goro a little bit
did his jumping in the air. And I'm sorry, when I saw the trailer and you can see Goro in the air and you see Cole little ass standing in the background, I could just imagine, like, damn, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, that'd be a terrible sight.
But Cole comes out with these, his shirt has powers, I guess, and it comes out with these blades on his wrist, and he cuts off Goro's one of his arms, splits his guts open, and jabs him in the eye and kills Goro. Nobody else. I mean, they build Goro as like the ultimate Mortal Kombat victor, the most wins in Mortal Kombat ever, and he dies. By the way, gets killed. This is the only fight Cole wins. By the way,
pretty much.
Okay, so he comes back and joins the group. And this is the only other thing that really puzzled me in this movie. Shang Tsung gets so pissed off, he takes the soul of Kung Lao, and then literally the next second, Raiden shows up and takes everybody else to this
void.
the void. And I'm like, bitch, you couldn't do that 5 minutes ago.
Why did you take him there to begin with? Yeah.
Right. And even Jax was like, why didn't you say Kung Lao? I'm not allowed to interfere. What do you mean?
Did. You just did. You just did by sending us here.
Anyway. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know. That's just bad writing. It's not the actor's fault. I didn't think anybody acting wise except Louis Tan did a bad job in this film. I thought everybody else was fantastic, especially Kano. So then we get the list of the next fights, I guess you could say. And here's Cole trying to round up the troops. We can't give up. We got to fight. Dude, you've been getting your ass whooped this whole movie. You don't need to fight no more. You need to go sit down. Okay, Jax wants Reiko. That's appropriate. The two biggest ones. Sonya and Kano, I guess that fits. I would have rather seen Sonya and Melina go at it again, but whatever. Cole gets Melina, and Liu Kang gets Cabal. All right. Let's just go one by one. Starting with Jackson Reiko. This ain't even a fight. This is just one person whooping the other one's ass. And Book, did you notice the stage where they were?
Yeah.
And it's like, you took the time to put that stage, Rob, that's the stage from the game that Jackson and Reiko were fighting on. The stage has a fatality. So you took the time to put that stage in the movie, but not do the fatality.
That pissed me off. Like, come on, that's one of the coolest ones.
And you have the strongest person to do it. Like, come on.
With his arms, it would have been perfect. But nope, they screwed it up. I mean, the death is awesome, but
yeah,
they could have done better.
This was good.
You know, that's just something. That's something at not being familiar with the game that I wouldn't even notice. So it's not something to me that's a negative because I didn't know.
Right. It's a nitpick. I still thought that Jax got his. I just wish this was longer. Maybe because he had the longer fight earlier with Sub-Zero, they just were like, okay, we can't give you all the screen time, Jax. But still, dude lost his arms. Give me some time. Shit. All right. But he pretty much beats the brakes off Rico, breaks his hammer, gets a few stiff punches in, and then does his famous clap, crushing his skull. He did get a good line in there. Like, yeah, these motherfuckers work.
That was a good line.
That was a good line.
I enjoyed the fight. I mean, like I said, I'm not looking at it through the same lens as you both. I didn't know the little detail about the stage that you all just talked about. I just was, and look, I didn't have high expectations coming into this movie. I just was hoping I would see some good martial arts and some good violence. And up to this point, I had gotten that. So I'm okay with the movie.
It was just too short.
Yeah.
It was so quick.
It was quick.
It was just way, way, way too quick, and to a point where it was almost pointless having that fight. So I understand they made it probably shorter because of the fact that the fight that Jackson had previous, but they made it to a point where it was like, what was the point of even having this fight happen? Obviously, you have to get rid of him, but it's like, what was the point of this? It was just a stupid fight, and the fact that they took what is one of the best fatalities in Mortal Kombat and you put the stage there and you don't even use it. It's I think this movie was catering to people more who aren't familiar with Mortal Kombat and pushed aside a little bit those who are familiar with Mortal Kombat. And this is one of those scenes where it was a little bit of a disservice.
So that stage, is that where all of the fights on the game take place?
So no, that stage is known for if you win. Okay, so you win the second round. It's time to finish him. You do whatever the moves, the buttons are, and the person uppercuts your opponent off the ledge, and they fall down to the spikes, and you get impaled through the spikes. Okay. So that would have been, even though the clap that's Jack's move. That is his move. But it would have been cooler. He'd have knocked
It'd
him
have been
off.
cooler. It'd have been cooler had he knocked him off, especially with his arms. You could have punched off his head, body flies up, falls down, and it gets impaled.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have, or you can even still do the clap when his head flies in front of his. Clap the head. You could have still done the clap too. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we get Liu Kang and Cabal. I thought this was a good fight. Really, really fast. You have to pay attention. I like the inclusion of the bicycle kick. That's the move from the game. And I just thought it was a good fight. Cabal, he kind of had some Kano in him, and he cut Liu Kang's arm. He was like, "Oh, sorry, did I get you?" And then after the bicycle kick, he gets caught in like some quicksand or something. And then Liu Kang does the dragon fatality, which is probably one of the most known fatalities in the game, period, with the dragon. So that was cool to see. Really good CGI on that one. No problem. I have no problem with that fight. Just kind of, but it was just, kind of checking boxes again. Just we have to give these two characters something to do. Make them fight. But it was good to me. Look,
it was a good fight. The problem is, I think they did a disservice to Liu Kang by shortchanging him. Liu Kang, I just don't think they did enough with Liu Kang. And Liu Kang is my second favorite character. And in this, I like the actor who plays Liu Kang, and the guy is cut.
Oh yeah,
the guy is cut, ridiculously cut. And the dragon scene, that is awesome. That is a huge plus for Liu Kang, is to see that damn dragon. But I wish they would have done more with Liu Kang. I think they put him in the background and they just did a whole lot with him.
Yeah.
I hope with any other Mortal Kombat movies they do, that they up the Liu Kang a lot more.
Okay, and then we get Kano and Sonya in the trailer park fighting again, and this is actually a good fight too. They gave this one some time, so this is the time where Sonya gets her longer fight, and she's just ducking Kano's laser beam, which she finally does somehow deactivate it with like some pepper spray or coffee mug, something she hits him in the eye with, and he can't use it anymore. And so they brawl throughout the trailer to the outside, and he's got her in a headlock, and she grabs that garden gnome, that same one.
Eye for an eye.
Right in the eye. And then she gets her dragon marking, and then she gets her arcana like that.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Very next cut, we go back to Cole getting his ass whooped by Melina. He can't do shit with Melina because
he can't do a thing.
And he even asks for help. Sonya shows up. He's like, "Little help, please." And she just, shoots her with her those rings that she just got her arcana like that. And Melina's dead. I had a big problem with that. I wanted more out of Melina. She had a good look. They picked the right actress to me. She did whoop Cole's ass though, so I guess there's that.
Well, that's not an accomplishment, evidently. Everybody been whooping on Cole's ass.
Then we get to the cold-blooded, no pun intended, man of the movie. Sub-Zero showing back up at Cole's house, taking his wife and daughter, teasing Cole with the bracelet. Cole follows him to the trap. Sub-Zero is now frozen in that same building where the fight was earlier. And we get one-on-one, Sub-Zero versus Cole. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna go well for you, buddy. And you see Cole and his wife and his daughter frozen, similar to how Hanzo's wife and son were frozen earlier. And so we get the fight, and I really, really appreciate Joe Taslim in this movie. It's not just wearing the outfit. It's not just the fighting. His facials were awesome. It like told the story. His eyes, everything he did, his body language, loved it. Especially with this, and just the way he was freezing Cole, and he's like, "Now you die." And Cole, I don't know how he got the spear, Hanzo's thing, and Sub-Zero picks it up, and he's like, "Oh shit, this is Hanzo's." He's about to stab Cole with it, and then the real deal, the man, Scorpion, shows up. He says, "Get over here!
Get over here!"
And then we get this fight was awesome. This was a good. I mean, we got sword fighting, hand-to-hand combat. I mean, this was great. This was Henry Sonata at his best. He takes off his mask too and says, "Remember my face? I'm Scorpion now." And then we get, Sub-Zero making his sword like we saw in the trailer, and they go at it. And they even do a callback to, Scorpion with the spear, but this time Sub-Zero catches it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed this in-fight scene. You get Cole.
Yeah, what was Cole doing this whole time?
Punching the ice.
And he couldn't get his stick out. Did you notice that when he was trying to do it? He couldn't get his stick. It's like, oh, God, you're so worthless.
So then we even get Scorpion and Cole against Sub-Zero, which I like how they made Sub-Zero so overpowered in this movie because he should be. And he should have been the villain. I'm sorry. I know Shang Tsung is supposed to be the villain. I felt like Sub-Zero was.
Oh, he totally was. Shang Tsung was worthless.
And, eventually they do give Cole some blows and he ends up, stabbing Sub-Zero. He does get his blades back and he stabs him, but he doesn't get the final blow. Final blow's left for Scorpion. Scorpion does the fire to the ground and unfreezes his family. So now he can go to his family, and Scorpion says, "Leave him to me." Does the speech, does the famous, mask off, and burns Sub-Zero to a crisp.
Oh, I loved it. Loved it.
I like how they did it. In the past, the old movie, and in the game, when he takes the mask off, it's a skull.
It's a skull.
So I like that they just kind of showed it where they hinted at the skull, but they didn't make his face a skull. So I thought that was more believable, more grounded. So cause I never, even as a kid, I was like, he just took his face off. What the fuck?
I loved that though too.
I loved it, but it didn't make any sense. So when he puts his mask on, he has a face again. Like, how does it work? So I did appreciate that. And then, so with that, and you wouldn't get this if you didn't see the movie more than once, and if you're casual, you might not get it either. Scorpion was locked in the Netherrealm until that moment when Cole took the spear and it lit up. So now Scorpion is free to do his bidding and go wherever he wants. So then Raiden and Jackson, Sonya, Liu Kang, they all show back up. Yes, yeah, so much for teaming up on Sub-Zero. Where the fuck y'all been? Yeah,
Yeah, that plan went well. That plan went out the window.
Yeah. And Shang Tsung shows up and says, you beat most of my warriors. That's fine. I'm gonna come back with armies next time. And if you know the lore, you know what happens to Sub-Zero. I don't know what they're gonna do with Goro or anybody else for that matter. But it's not the last time you see Bihan. That's all I got to say.
Nope.
From there, we get Cole saying he's going to Hollywood to find, as Book mentioned earlier, the poster that was in the background is now in the forefront. The poster of Johnny Cage, the person that should have been the centerpiece of this movie. And literally from that poster, we get the credits. Movie over. Real quick, do you know who Johnny Cage is, Rob?
No.
Okay, so he's one of the original from the very first game. Johnny Cage was in that movie. He was in the game. He was in the first and he was barely in Annihilation.
Barely. He was in it for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. But if you watch Scorpion's Revenge, he's in that and he's the centerpiece. He's the audience, and it was perfect. So a lot of people were pissed off that Johnny Cage wasn't in this movie.
Not me.
This felt more like a prequel than an actual movie. There was no tournament. We didn't have all the players. and everybody was kind of getting their powers and getting their Arcana, and that's fine and dandy. But they kind of build it as it was going to be a tournament. They talked about a tournament. We didn't get it, but I will say overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it hit more than it missed. The opening scene doesn't feel like the same movie. It's like the opening and the ending feel like two different movies. There are some okay fights in the middle, but the middle kind of loses its way. And I guess that's just a director's issue. And I thought Kano was the shining star in the film. He was hilarious. I thought Jax, Makaad Brooks was great as Jax. They just didn't give him enough to do. I even think Liu Kang was great. They didn't give him enough to do. Sub-Zero is the other person that stole this movie because forget Shang Tsung. He was the villain of this movie. He was cold-blooded. He was the way he moved in the shadows, everything about Sub-Zero. And he was the final boss. So yes, if I had to grade the movie, and this is from me being a fan and wanting to see this was 10,000 times better than Annihilation. I'm still on I think I need to watch that 95 movie again. But I still think that one is a more coherent film than this one. But this one had the gore and the blood and the fights. So I think it's just on par, plus or minus a few things with that 95 movie. So I'm just going to give it a B minus as far as if I was grading the film. I'd give it a B minus. I would recommend it if you're a Mortal Kombat, especially if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, I would still recommend it. If you're a Johnny Cage fan, sorry. Yeah, that's what I would give it. Rob, you being the casual, what did you think?
Look, for me, like I said, I like action films and I like martial arts. So now, did I think the plot was all that great? No, but to be honest, I didn't tune into this movie because I thought it would have a great plot. I thought the fight scenes were okay. I thought Kano, I didn't speak as much about Kano as you both did, but I thought he was a very enjoyable character. I thought Sub-Zero, I agree with you, Big E, that he was really the villain of the movie to me. He was the badass villain as far as I was concerned. But I was entertained. I would give it a C+. I judge a movie by whether or not, look, would I buy this movie? Would I want it in my collection? And I would. When this comes out on Blu-ray, I would buy it. I would have it in my collection. Was it a great movie? Is it going to win any Academy Awards? Well, hell no. But I don't need that. I just need to be entertained, and I was entertained. So C+.
Speaking as a gamer and a fan of this franchise, I said it earlier. Where was this going to hold in comparison to the two previous Mortal Kombat movies? Let's get rid of Annihilation, obviously. This is definitely better than Annihilation. That's not even close. So Annihilation remains the worst of the Mortal Kombat movies, which we all knew that was going to happen. So it leads to what it stack up against this one. The original, the 1995 movie. Is it better than that? No, it is not. The original is still the best video game movie ever done. And part of it has to do with the plot, the storyline, the screenplay. It was bouncing all over the place in the middle. It just wasn't cohesive. It didn't find a tone. It went all over the place, which was exactly what happened in Wonder Woman 84. Same damn screenplay, right? It's the same dude.
At least this movie was shorter.
At least it was shorter, but I still noticed the same problems. Plot holes, bouncing all over the place. The middle was horrible. If I had to grade just parts of a movie, that middle was like a D because it was just so all over the place. The beginning, great. The ending, final fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, that was great. Could have done without Cole. But it if
We
I was to
all
grade
agree Cole was the problem in this movie.
yeah, Cole was a huge problem. Could have done without him. He was a horrible vehicle. He was pointless. I did not even care about him. And then by not caring about him, it almost made me not care about his family because I was annoyed at Cole at this point. So I have to give this a C plus. The plot holes, that horrible middle, and they chose the worst vehicle for us in Cole. I just did not care. And he had the worst damn power. It was just stupid. I didn't get it. He gets this whisker basket all over him. I just didn't get it. It was entertainable. The fights were obviously far superior to any of the other Mortal Kombats. But also in comparing the characters from Shang Tsung was better in the original than the Shang Tsung we got in this. Shang Tsung in this was just a wimp. I just didn't get it. That previous Shang Tsung from the first movie was awesome. He was epic as a villain, which is why he was the villain. If that Shang Tsung was in this movie, we wouldn't be saying Sub-Zero was the main villain because that Shang Tsung was despicable. But it's a shame. I was hoping I would have been able to give this like a B or something, but
I think what's got me at the B is just the Sub-Zero was just cold. I mean, literally, no pun. He was cold-blooded.
He was cold-blooded.
Mercy, okay? If I say you gotta die, you gonna die.
Sub-Zero, they did justice to. They did him good. Of course, I'm not a Sub-Zero fan.
That's the actor.
That's the actor.
Yeah, that's Joe Taslim.
And as far as Johnny Cage, I've never liked Johnny Cage, so I was kind of glad he wasn't in this movie that much. That didn't bother me one bit.
Well, you might.
But he will be in the next one, though. He'll probably be the centerpiece of the next one.
Have you heard the rumor who might play him?
I know who wants to play him.
You'll like him then.
Well, I don't think he's going to be playing Johnny Cage.
I don't think he would. I don't think he'll get the part. But
he's got the look, definitely. That's what Johnny Cage would look like. But no, The Miz is not going to be playing Johnny Cage.
He's rumored. It's a rumor.
He's got the look. It's just I don't know if he could do the fighting, but he's definitely got the look.
I've heard Miz. I've heard Chris Pratt. I thought I heard one other name too, but. I mean, Cole was a huge problem. Kano, hilarious. I'm pretty sure he'll be back. They can retcon his death. I mean, he got stabbed in the eye, so I mean, Shang Tsung can do some wizardry and bring him back, and then he can get the full plate and get the real laser eye. I guess next movie we'll get the actual tournament. And it'll actually mean something. But that means we're going to get Cole again.
Okay.
There's one other aspect that I got to mention. The music.
Oh, yeah.
The music in this was disappointing.
What, the remix?
It was disappointing. The music in this movie, I didn't feel the Mortal Kombat music until Sonya and Melina were fighting. That's the first time I'd felt the music really kick it into high gear with the fights. And that was like 15 seconds and then it was over. So the music in this was really disappointing. Mortal Kombat, the original movie, that soundtrack is epic. This, it kind of took a shit.
I disagree. I like the score. I thought Sub-Zero score especially was on point. I like the score for this movie.
A couple of things for me that I find interesting is first of all, watching this movie, I expected a tournament. I was just kind of surprised when we got random fights. I thought this was going to be a big tournament with all of the Netherworld's best fighters against
so
Earth's best fighters, or
Outworld. It's Outworld versus Earth.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get that. When it didn't go that way, I said, okay, look, once again, I'll just go with it. And then second of all, the point, I find it very interesting that both of you seem to favor the original 95 version, even though it's not as violent, because as I stated earlier in the podcast, I thought that was the main complaint of people who didn't like the original one, is that it was lacking the violence. But you're both saying it was the plot that disappointed you with this one.
Well, the 90, you could if you watch the 95 movie, I guarantee you will follow that movie start to finish. You probably won't have any questions because it's very fluid. And that's a Paul W.S. Anderson film, and he's a terrible director. Okay. This is the set that's Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Alien versus Predator, the second one, Requiem. He directed that shit. Yeah, he
Oh.
directed the first Mortal Kombat film. That's probably his best film on his resume. Okay. um, but it's yes, the fights in that movie don't have the blood, they don't have the fatalities. But the actors, like the guy that played Johnny Cage was so charismatic. Um Bridget Wilson as Sonya was great.
Liu Kang,
Liu
Robin,
Kang, Robin Shaw.
Soy. Yeah, Robin Chow.
And the actor I can't think is Carrie. I can't say his last name, but the guy that plays Shang Tsung,
Perfect.
he was fantastic.
He nailed it.
So I think that first one just has a lot of heartstrings. Like people were just tied to that one because they did it right. Remember, video game movies before that 95 film. Let's go back now.
Don't say it. Do not say that name. Don't say it. Do not
Super
say
Mario
Oh,
Brothers.
Jesus.
Double Dragon. Street Fighter.
You like Street Fighter.
But it was bad. By the time we got that 95 film, it was like, finally they did it right. We didn't get the blood and the guts, but that's why I think this one, it lacked the plot, but it had everything else. It had the fan service and it had the violence versus the other one didn't. And this one I think was funnier. Kano was, there wasn't a Kano in the 95 one. So,
well, he was in it, but he was
no,
throwaway.
I mean, there wasn't
he
a
was
comedic,
throwaway.
there wasn't
was
a comedic
throwaway.
relief.
He was a throwaway character. He was like in it for 2 minutes, it felt like.
No, I mean, like Kano was
I know
in
what
the
you
first
mean.
one, but there was no comedic relief. Really.
No, he was,
Johnny Cage was supposed to be. I didn't really find him funny.
He was not funny.
So yeah, like I said, to me, it's on par with that one. Just different pluses and minuses in both. That's all. That's how I would take it. But at the end of the day, I would like I said, I would recommend it. I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, can definitely watch it. It's just
I wanted more. I wanted more.
I wanted more.
Better. I wanted it to be great. I wanted it to be great, you know. But it was just good. It was good.
It made me watch this.
Excuse me. It passed. It passed the test. It was better than Annihilation.
That's not a compliment. I mean,
okay, well, look, going by my scale, when it's released on DVD or Blu-ray, do you buy it?
Yes, of course. I'm a Mortal Kombat fan, so yeah.
Right away, no. I could see myself owning it. It's not going to be something I can't wait to buy. But I could see myself owning it someday.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't buy it on release date, but eventually.
Well, the other problem with release date purchases nowadays is because you can stream everything. So it's like I don't necessarily have to go out now and buy it. I could wait till it's in the $5 bin and pay $5 for it.
Unless it's a huge movie, I buy all my stuff on eBay. I hardly ever buy brand new DVDs. I buy my stuff resale because I'm like, let me save some money.
Certain movies I can't wait for. Like Joker, I wasn't going to wait. I got that as soon as it was available. This is not in that kind of category where I'm going to just instantly get it. But plus, it's on HBO Max, so it's not like I have to do anything. So,
well, that is the review. Hope you all enjoyed. What did you all think of Mortal Kombat? Are you a Mortal Kombat fan? Have you been a long time fan, or are you just a casual viewer? What did you think of the movie? Did you like Cole? Did you not like Cole? Are you with us with the anti-Cole coalition?
Pardon the pun and including the pun.
I hope there's a hashtag get rid of Cole. And
Cole has been getting a lot of complaints.
Look, I'm not saying this is the actor's fault. Louis Tan, he's just doing his job.
Nobody's blaming him. They're blaming the writing.
Like I said, this was the studio mandate that they put him in the film. So now the director has to deal with it too. But it is what it is. So let us know. Make sure you follow both our shows. Make sure you follow Book. the Countdown Podcast 2020. He's been so supportive of our show as well. Make sure you follow him on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can download his episodes on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon.
Yep. And also now I'm on YouTube.
There you go. The Countdown Podcast 2020. Myself, Rob, we've been on multiple shows. We talk all types of countdowns, and it's very, very, very fun when we get on there and we can talk all types of topics from movies to wrestling to. I'm sure we'll get to music eventually. So
yeah, I gotta get into the music one.
So yes, definitely let's give his show a listen. And make sure you check out Third Generation Wrestling Podcast. Follow us on the same platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can download our podcast from Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and also on YouTube. And there are clips and videos on our YouTube as well from prior shows. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoyed the movie. Rob, you got anything?
Hey, always want to thank the listeners. We appreciate y'all, and let's hear from you. And, look, it's love between our two shows, Third Generation Wrestling and The Countdown. Check them both out. Let's hear from you on both shows.
That's right. That's right. Thanks again. We'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.
Down there, complete fucking asshole. Answers to Kano. He's the reason I live in an iron lung. He's a low-life piece of shit scumbag. You're gonna love him.
Oh, that was great. Really. Good stuff. Maybe your Arcana's getting your ass kicked by a hat. Huh. They make those in men's sizes? Top knot. The end. What's his name? Kung Pao. Pass the fucking egg roll, would you?
Well, how about I take that stupid fucking sombrero you wear and shove it so far up your ass you start speaking Spanish? How does that sound?
You angry?
Oh, fucking nothing gets by you, does it? And who are you two, huh? You some fucking cave-dwelling hippie twirling his anal beads, taking orders from this wushu wanker who wears a hubcap as a helmet. Ah, laser beam! Better than fireballs, you pussy!